Greetings, ladies and gentlemen. It's Commentator Havoc, and I'm back here on the Crimson Wrestling Game channel. I don't know where the Crimson Brothers have been, but no worries about that. I'm back now to pick up the slack. Today on this video, I want to talk about the Nexus and a big misconception I see about how John Cena buried the Nexus in 2010. I heavily disagree, brother. Maybe you can say he did bury the Nexus, but nobody in the Nexus, aside from a few people, had any real potential. Let's be honest. Wade Barrett at most was always going to be a mid-carder to upper mid-carder. Daniel Bryan got better after leaving the Nexus. Ryback or Skip Sheffield got better after he left and rebranded. Everybody that had any potential reached their potential once they were done with the Nexus. But as a whole, it was a group of jobbers and people with no real potential. The purpose of the Nexus the entire time, brother, was eventually to be overcome and beaten by all the baby faces, which is exactly what happened. This group had no real staying power. This was not going to be a multi-year long story or anything of significance. They were always meant to be overcome eventually by all the baby faces, namely John Cena, and the group served its purpose. Did Heath Slater and Justin Gabriel really scream larger-than-life superstars to you? Come on, brother, get real. Were David Otunga and Darren Young going to be world heavyweight champions? Are you serious, brother? Were Michael Tarver and Mason Ryan going to duke it out at WrestleMania? Come on, brother. Are you guys serious right now? This group was full of jobbers, and nobody here was going to do anything in the World Wrestling Federation. John Cena was completely right in AAing all of them and making them tap out and putting them to rest. I would actually make the argument, brother, that John Cena truly did not even bury talent. I blame it more so on booking. But just losing to John Cena does not mean you're buried. Losing matches does not bury you. There's more that goes into being buried besides losing matches. John Cena is the greatest wrestler of all time. So in theory, anybody losing to him does not mean they're buried. You're buried if you lose to a jobber or somebody below John Cena. To the contrary, feuding with John Cena always elevated talent. It put them higher up on the card and made them a bigger deal. When Edge cast in on John Cena and had that feud, it made Edge a bigger deal. When CM Punk had his feud with John Cena, it made CM Punk a bigger deal. Seth Rollins, Kevin Owens at the time. So to the contrary, John Cena elevates talent. He does not bury them, brother. And that's just a fact of life. Yeah. And once again, brother, plenty of people from the Nexus went on to have successful careers. Those with actual potential did live up to it. Ryback had a solid, upper mid-carder to main event career for the years that he was in the World Wrestling Federation. Daniel Bryan became WWE and World Heavyweight Champion. Wade Barrett had a successful career. He was a good mid-carder, and even now he's commentating today. So plenty of people, brother, that really had it became something who were in the Nexus. You got to be smoking something, brother, if you thought Justin Gabriel was going to be world heavyweight champion. The ceiling of Justin Gabriel was always a 205 jobber, a 205 live jobber. He was no different than Evan Bourne. He was no different than Tyson Kidd. That was the absolute ceiling of Justin Gabriel. You could argue that even Daniel Bryan did not even have that much potential. If he would have stayed in the Nexus, he would have been another Tyson Kidd, somebody of that mold. But getting out of the Nexus is what actually helped him to get over. So to the contrary, leaving the Nexus was actually the most beneficial. Being in the Nexus was bad for all the people that were there. But I will say, brother, the group as a whole served its purpose. It was good for the time. It was an epic faction. It was a big surprising shock on TV, seeing them tear apart the ring, beat up Vince McMahon, beat up Bret Hart. So they did play their part, but they weren't going to be much for the long haul after that storyline, brother. And that's just a fact of life. The most you could really do is what they did, having CM Punk try to revive them, rebrand them to the core. But the Nexus was always meant to eventually die. And if you disagree with Commentator Havoc, brother, you're just wrong. Let me know in the comments if you disagree. If I'm right, if I'm wrong, let me know. And that's all Commentator Havoc has to say today. I need to see all you in the comments begging the Crimson Brothers to come back. I don't know why they're disappearing. It doesn't matter if you're defending your tag team titles. You still have an obligation to the Crimson Wrestling Game channel. Havoc has spoken. For more of the Crimson Brothers, follow the Crimson Wrestling Federation today. I'm Commentator Havoc, the voice of the Crimson Wrestling Federation. And you can see the calls I've made in the Crimson Wrestling Federation, in the comic Crimson Wrestling Game, Story of Malice, in the description below.